Yeah, you're all right. It's just a feeling. Yeah, no problem. I should probably use it. You got that back now. Right. Good evening all, and welcome to this month's full Parish Council. If I may start with apologies, please. Right.
Excuse me, just turn your phone, sorry.
Can we just point out, I know there's a huge amount of interest on developments of this evening, but can we have the mobiles on silent, please? And no cheering when you get the result, or booing, or hissing, or whatever. But if we all roll over the floor laughing, I'll find that acceptable.
I agree with it.
All right. Public participation. Is there any members of the public that would like to participate in any way? They're all too interested in what's going on tonight. Look, you can see it's showing.
I'm with you, I promise.
Right, any declarations of interest for this meeting?
This is going really well. Yeah, don't jinx it.
Right, to confirm the minutes of the full Parish Council on the 12th of February. Right, starting with 1193, 193, 194, 195, 196, 197, 198, 199, 200, 201, 202, 203, 204, 205, 206, 207, 208, 209, 210, 211, 212, 213,
213. Sorry, I thought the minutes didn't quite reflect the discussion that we've had, which was about looking, we actually looked back to previous minutes to see what we'd agreed. So the clerk explained that there would be additional costs, but I think it was agreed that actually we couldn't incur additional costs because we'd already agreed on the sum that we were going to spend.
That's what we was going back to the staff management to discuss that.
I just thought the minutes were a bit vague about that part of it.
As I said, we are going with staff and management to discuss that, but the agreed fee, as far as I was aware, was the 12,000 and which was 50% split between us and the funding. So yes, but that is, we are seriously looking into that, because but obviously what was pointed out that was the extra £3,000 that simply jumped out from nowhere, and that's where so we're adjusting.
Sorry, what extra £3,000?
There was about £3,000 that jumped out, i.e. national insurance and everything else, which was assumed was in the original costings. So we are addressing that.
Okay, so we're taking it as read that we checked back on what we actually agreed and that we know what we agreed.
Yeah. Okay. And 214. Can I have a proposal that we Janet? Neil? All those in favour? Unanimous. Right. To confirm the minutes of the Finance and General Purpose on the 19th of February. Right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, To agree the draft co-option plan policy. It was proposed by Councillor Blackson, seconded by Councillor Jane Merrick, to recommend to full council to adopt the co-option policy with the above amend to item 4.3.
And then everyone had the copy.
Yeah, had the
He
copy,
sent
that was sent down.
yesterday. I don't know if you agreed with it
Everybody happy with that? Any no comment? Can I have a, do you need a
or- It's
vote?
just a vote to accept.
Can I have a vote, sir? Thank you very much. 7, 8. It was proposed by Councillor David Bard and seconded by Councillor Kevin Cuffley to recommend to full Parish to adopt the amended policy. This is just regulation, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, it was
yes,
discussed
yes,
at
yes,
finances recommendations.
So, do we all agree?
Yes.
Yes.
Agreed.
Can I take a vote on that, please?
No, I just need to vote. Everyone, thank you.
9, to discuss the possibility of an office extension. It was proposed by Councillor Kevin Cuffley and seconded by Councillor David Bard to recommend to full council that we do not go ahead with the alterations and continue to hold the full parish meetings at Spicer's Pavilion. Any comments? Are we all agreed?
Yeah. Can I take a vote on it?
Can I take a vote on that, please?
Not everyone.
Any objections?
Yes.
Thank you. 10. 11, to just discuss equal opportunities policy for the parish council. It's proposed by Councillor Brian Mills and seconded by Councillor Janet Marty to recommend to full we adopt this policy. I think that's pretty okay.
Yes.
Everyone happy with that?
I think we missed the cyber insurance policy. Or
No, it's
No,
not
it
going
didn't
to
need
be
to
up, it's
be.
going back
Nothing
for
to do there.
discussion.
Thank you.
It's going to be looked into, wasn't
Yes,
it?
yeah.
Sorry, is everyone in, put hands up for
Yeah,
you?
it was a recommendation.
Yeah, thank you.
Nice.
Joe, the recommendations still are quite as obvious as they used to be, I think. Maybe you used to capitalise
Capital.
them.
Yeah, then,
No, just like on it.
yeah, okay.
It's been rejected again, if anybody's interested.
What's that?
Surprised. How much fine?
Others?
Adopt.
12.
The emergency plan, they're meeting on the 21st of March.
Yeah. That's all. So can I have a proposer and a seconder for those? Janet and
Yeah.
Anna? All those in favour? Right, confirm and sign the minutes of the planning meeting held on the 26th of February.
Just on the planning, I do need to make the amendment that Rajni and Tony are on the planning. I
Right,
don't need to make the amendments, but obviously they came because it was open to.
so they attended as members of the board.
Well, no, it's members, but
Well,
not voting.
You're not voting. Right,
So I
okay,
make
yeah.
that amendment.
Right, 1.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, please. I wanted my name to be added to the people
Oh,
present.
yeah.
I declared an interest, so I guess I was there.
Are you sure? Are you absolutely sure?
Thank you.
Right, no problem. 2, 3, 4.
Hang on, if Tony was there, then somebody who wasn't there must be wrong because there's a unanimous vote that was 8-4.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right,
I
because
pointed
it,
that out.
yeah,
Yeah,
Sorry?
and Raj as well.
yeah, so that's it, I'll amend all that.
So did you try to vote?
Sorry?
Did you try to vote?
I think
Withdraw anything once. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It was proposed by Councillor Jane Merkin, seconded by Councillor David Barr, that we recommend to full that we go ahead with the feasibility study of a cost of £500 to have a 20-mile-an-hour speed limit throughout the village. Any comments?
Would that cover some of the dark anomalies we've got, like there's a 30-mile-an-hour speed limit specifically down Shingo Lane? Because actually, when we asked them whether they could do something about that, they said, I think that it would cost £350 to do a feasibility study just in Shingo Lane. So actually, if you could get that all included, so if it's
Yeah,
if
it doesn't
so it's covering the whole village, not just the high street.
No, it's covering the whole village. It's covering the whole village. Brian was David. Brian?
Yeah, I think the only thing that I say, I know that particularly in the high street area, for people to observe the existing 20-mile-an-hour limits, and the fact is there's no enforcement, and there are a certain category of people that will drive irrespective of the current speed limits anyway. And I'm just slightly concerned that we can end up spending £500, and the recent report of Cambridge City in this regard had, I believe, 2 prosecutions in the last 2 years for people breaking the 20-mile-an-hour speed limit. So, the chances of it being effectively enforced is very, very small. And I don't want us to send out the wrong message that we're not concerned about cars and the speed they go through the village. I'm just concerned that we could end up spending £500 for no great effect.
Right. David?
Yes, I think so.
Thank you, Brian.
Sorry, sorry.
No comment.
Yeah, in immediate sort of response to that, I think the feasibility study would also look at whether any traffic calming was needed to ensure compliance with different parts of the village. In response to Beck's comment, I think the regulations have changed since the 20-mile limit was originally put in down the high street. And under the current regulations, it also includes cul-de-sacs off a 20-mile limit. So we won't have that absurd situation we had where we had to petition them to remove the sign going into the car park, in which apparently told you could go up to 30 miles an hour.
To give you a very clear example of that, if we put a 20-mile limit on Bayhill Road, as an example, the whole of Edinburgh Avenue, the whole of that area would become a 20-mile-an-hour limit. Automatically. So what you do is your main routes are your 20-mile-an-hour limits, and all your offshoots automatically become 20-mile-an-hour limits. So that covers that. Jane?
Well, I was just going to say in response to Brian, I mean, I agree with what you're saying, but I think I said at the last meeting about how things may well change. This is going to take some time to put in place. I mean, Josh says something about, once we've said we accept the feasibility study, and that will have the costs in it of doing all this work, and we'll have to work, then budget for whatever it is. It's going to be a minimum of 12 months. And we've often talked about having, what are they, the community support officers that that might be an option for the future. So I think it doesn't mean that necessarily in the future we won't have some enforcement mechanism. It's also the fact that a lot of double yellow lines in the village are practically non-existent. If you look at Lake Road, I mean, no wonder people are parking down there because you can't see the lines. So, there's all that kind of thing.
It's not with parking, isn't it? Sorry, am I missing something? What's this got to do with double yellow?
It's just that, I think Jane's emphasising the enforcement aspect of it. You've got yellow lights and it's not being enforced anyway.
I think we have talked to them about double yellow lines in the past, and that's another issue about costing, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it would be really nice if we could go ahead with the feasibility study, so that at least we'd know what our options are on it all. And we have had lots of complaints from residents about speeding through the village.
Colin?
I mean, yeah, I think it's a good idea to have a 20-mile speed limit, but how do you monitor it? I add a suggestion how you monitor it.
Well, discuss that at a later date.
I would like to see it monitored. Even if you didn't get the ones that we got ready, if you just had cheaper ones that you can get, which are just show you the speed that you're going at. I think that would be a good idea as well.
Or happy face or a sad face.
Well,
Yeah, in the grand scheme of things, £500 is a lot of money for any one person, but in terms of development and infrastructure, it's basically nothing. So I think for what it could potentially yield, it's a good idea, and it's probably a lot easier to implement than drones. So I think, I think that'll be a really good idea.
thank you. David?
Yes, no, just in response to Janet's comments, I think also there's it isn't just on the line, it's road markings in general, in particular 20 mile an hour roundels in the High Street and also Nick Road. There was an instance in Nick Road where a pothole developed and one pothole was filled and the roundel wasn't restored, so most of them were initial.
Beck?
So is the study going to involve recommendations for how to enforce it as well? I think that's what it's implying, costings, technicalities.
Yeah.
So they're going to both see whether it's feasible to apply this and then suggest methods of doing it.
Yes.
Well, that seems well worth it. And I think the simplicity of a speed limit that covers the whole village is also appealing, that you're not sort of saying that there are different bits that you can go faster in. And it doesn't seem to make much sense.
Brian?
It doesn't actually seem that much money.
No, well, it's feasibility.
Yes.
But just to clarify, I think I'm less worried about spending £500 and £8 on the signage system that you need to effect that.
Yeah.
And so what I'm saying is that we're spending 500 quid on a scheme evaluation that could end up saying, well, this is what you need to create a 20 mile an hour zone around the village. But the problem with it is that it won't be adhered to, and the enforcement, as we've seen in Cambridge City and absolutely across the country, it doesn't mean, for example, that 20 mile an hour zones don't slow traffic down generally. But what they do is slow down traffic generally, so people, for example, instead of doing 35 or 40 in a 30 mile an hour zone, it becomes a 20 mile an hour zone and they end up doing only 30. And so there is a quelling effect for sure, but the number of prosecutions are minimal because the police have no time in which to do the enforcement. So we should be realistic about our expectations of imposing a 20 mile an hour zone around the
Right. Is it a new point there?
Just for that, I don't think prosecutions are our aim. I think
No,
making
it's
traffic
It's
safer
safety,
is
yeah.
our
Which
aim.
is the point I was
So I
going to
think
make.
actually what you've described would be a perfectly good effect.
Well, let's just make
Yeah,
I was thinking like otherwise, if someone is going to cut their speed down from 40 to 30, that's still an improvement.
Yes.
So,
But the difficulty is that the people who ignore the speed limits anyway will ignore them by a worse proportion when they're 20 miles an hour than they are at 30.
Well, to close this down is the issue that for me comes out of this, and it's been mentioned, is the safety aspect of it. And as you rightfully mentioned, Brian, is if you're travelling at 30, you're likely to do 40, 45. If you're travelling at 20, you're likely to do 25, 30. So if when you look at the impact that could have on a child, being hit at 45, likelihood it will kill them. At 25, 30, it will hurt them, but they won't die. So there's a lot of aspects of there for me, it's public safety. And I think for me, that makes it worthwhile to look forward into the feasibility study. The other side of which you mentioned of setting it all up is a matter that we will discuss at that time, but the likelihood is we'll probably get it through LHI anyway. So we'll only pay 10% of the total cost.
It would be really good to encourage them to come up with radical solutions as well.
Yes, all of them,
You know, not just
Yeah.
covering the existing.
Right, so going to the vote is, who's in favour of that? Unanimous? Excellent, thank you very much. Are they trying to do that tonight?
Too much.
That's what we're doing tonight, so. Right, 10. 11, 12, 13.
So, sorry, can I ask about 12? Because it's very vague. Why are quotes being obtained for leaflets and banners? It doesn't say what their leaflets about or banners for.
Sorry, what was the
Neighbourhood
first?
plan.
How about neighbourhood
12.
plan?
Number
Yes,
12.
yeah,
It doesn't say what their leaflet's about or ban at all, because you've already done a mailing across the whole village, haven't you?
we have, but what we want, we're having stands again at the various village events, the Spices Fete, the Chalice Garden Anniversary Fete in May, and the Church Fete. So, and we need new banners really for those tables, so that the colours are more in line with our neighbourhood plan colours and not mistaken for any kind of.
So do you think you've got existing banners which are now obsolete?
Well, it's not only that they're obsolete, they're actually a bit too small. They need to be a bit bigger. I mean, it was our first attempt at it. And the leaflets are really useful, not just for door to door, but actually at the events and at things like the Time Bank coffee mornings, to have something to give to people. And what we'd like to do is make them smaller, so actually rather than being four-sided, they'll be two-sided, and have something, probably, the quote is for design as well, something on the back that will get people to actually keep them. For example, the diary of dates for neighbourhood planning meetings, the parish council meetings, you know, something that will be relevant to people that they can put up on their notice boards and help with other things as well.
For the village design statement, am I right in saying that I don't think we've seen anything at Parish Council yet?
No, we had a feedback event in January, which everyone was invited to, and which some councillors and came to that. Following that event, people who included members of the village as well, all gave their comments on what the draft said and what extra information the architects were able to give us. They've taken that back, and it's been amended. It's now going through South Cam's, Brian will know this better than me, committee system, and when they have done with all their comments, it then goes to consultation, and that'll be when all the village will have the opportunity to consult on it. That's likely to give their views. That's likely to be April, May, and we're planning an exhibition on the 9th of May, and that will be almost certainly up in the Walnut Tree Room at Salisbury Village
So
College.
it doesn't come to Parish Council per se any more than it goes out to consultation to anyone in the village?
No, that's not a specific part of the consultation, although it'd be really nice if councillors would look at it and give their views.
Okay,
Thank you.
right. 13, 14, 15.
Sorry, Kevin, I did have one other thing marked. In number 11, it mentions that the clerk's writing a piece for the citizen sing. I haven't done it yet. Okay, I don't know whether anything's been sent, but the deadline is Sunday.
The next edition.
Okay, thank you for that. 15. Can I have a proposal that they are David and Neil? All those in favour? To confirm the signed minutes of the 17th meeting held on the 5th of March. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It was proposed by Councillor Kieran Cooper and seconded by Councillor David Barr to recommend to agree £1,000. Up to 1,000.
To spend 1,000?
Up to £1,000 on just the stones things.
The risk
The risk assessment on the stones. Yeah.
I couldn't quite understand this because it says that we've been quoted £600 for an assessment.
What they've done, they've based it on the amount of headstones now that we've got, but then if they have to write, or if there's a problem with any of the headstones, they charge per headstone for a report on that headstone and if any work needs doing on it.
Oh, so this is extra assessment, it's not extra fixing things? Because the
Well, we-
description makes it sound as though...
They're not fixing them, they're just doing the assessment and letting us
But it
know.
says
Risk
additional
assessment.
charge, oh, I see. But it
So
says
it's,
additional
they're
charge-
charging £600 to come out and look, but we need to, obviously there's no point in them coming out and saying there's loads of things wrong without us agreeing to pay for it.
I still don't understand whether we're paying for the assessment or we're paying for them to actually do something.
They're not
repair
fixing
work.
anything.
No,
What they're doing,
that's-
they're coming to assess the risk of all the headstones. If they need work doing to them, or they feel they're unsafe, they will do a report on each headstone and report it back to us, for us to sort out. If they're that dangerous, they will lay the headstones flat.
So
But they charge for
So
that.
the £600 is
we don't-
basically for them to come out and look at it, and if there was nothing wrong with any of the headstones, that's all we
£600,
get.
that's just £600, yeah.
But
If there's
we
something
know-
wrong, if each time they find something wrong,
They do, it's
they will do a report and it will cost. It's called money for old road.
unfortunately, we've never had a risk assessment.
We know
Well,
there
we
are
know
some
there are
problems. We know there are
some
some problems with
Um,
some of the headstones, and presumably some of them, because they're owned by the family,
Well, we'd have to write.
it will be a case going back to the family
We
to
don't.
ask them to repair.
Mr. Chairman, sorry, you have to look at it on the other side as well, because if one did burn down and someone was walking past it, there'd be a lot more than £600
Yeah.
spent on that.
Absolutely. But,
Yes,
but
just a point of information about who owns these, and so therefore is
The
responsible.
headstones are responsibility of the
Grave owner?
grave owner,
Right. What
or the
happens,
family.
or the family?
Well, this will be the thing, is if we end up with a list, we've got to then trace back the
Yes.
families who just hope that,
they're still alive.
That
and
they're-
some still alive.
or that they've changed the rights of
So
their,
there's
etc.
actually a consequential cost in time and effort.
I think
if they're found
well, I
to
think
be
if there is-
lacking.
well, if there is, I think we would just lay them down to make them safe. We
Yes.
wouldn't be doing repairs to them, but we would have to lay them
Understood.
down to make them,
Thank you.
yeah.
Okay, so my question was, if we know that there are some that are dangerous and require work, why we don't just pay to have the work rather than having the assessment by it? You answered the question, because
Yeah.
it's not our responsibility to
Yeah.
do that.
I mean, for me, the point that was made by Tony is this is about, again, public safety. And the planning consideration is not just children go up there with their parents and everything.
So,
So,
lots of stones,
you
yeah.
know, so to me, it's a bit of a no-brainer, in all honesty, in my opinion. So, all those in favour?
And I'll obviously report back on it.
Can we just adjust the wording of the
Yeah, I'm going to
proposal?
put it, spend up
Spend
to
up to-
1,000,
thank
yeah.
you.
Yeah.
do.
Because that's all we agree.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 and 12. I want to come back to the artwork on the memorial tree. What was actually, what you were thinking of doing here? Having another tree that you could put names and leaves on?
No,
or-
when we went to an SLCC conference the other week, they had this tree. I think Claire showed pictures of it, didn't she?
Yes.
I can't remember what it was made of.
Much smaller.
Yeah, it was smaller, it was cast iron, and then the leaves on the tree are like memorial plaques. So,
In the description.
well, yeah, with an inscription. So it's a memorial tree. So if you wanted to have a memorial
Oh,
plaque,
yeah.
you'd have it as this leaf, which was then welded onto this tree.
Okay.
But we will be discussing it again at cemetery
Yeah,
to look
right,
more into
okay.
that.
Sounds nice.
It was lovely, actually.
Right.
Nice.
Right, can I have a proposer, please? Neil
Yeah.
and Janet? All those in favour?
Yeah, thank
No matters arising. Planning applications. Oh, good. Right, got all the ones of information. Right, S0674 19E1 screening option for Huawei. Huawei. You did teach me this once. Technologies Research and Development UK Limited, former Spicer site, Sawston. Any comments, please? Janet.
Yeah, well, I did read through the documents to do with this, and I think the main issue at this point in time is about the conservation issues and the archaeology report. So, I mean, I think at the very least, I mean, what I'd like, I'm not quite sure what we're required to do under this, but I think we ought to be supporting the conservation issues and the risk to its an Iron Age fault, I think, that the archaeology, and so that the development can take place while still preserving those conservation
Yes,
issues.
there's a continuous series through Iron Age up to medieval, actually. It's a very important site.
So,
To be fair, I mean, the site that they're talking about doesn't affect directly the fort, the ring fort.
Well, except that there is a reasonable supposition that there could be further archaeology and so on past the
Yeah,
site.
I think that's the
that
point.
were the original site. So,
Yes, so it's the possibility.
Yes, it is,
Yes,
yes.
And landscaping presumably in the future as well might well affect that. So, yeah.
so Joe, you're in support? Generally, you're in support of this?
I'm not sure there's anything for us to support, to be honest. I mean, it's
No,
an
There's
environmental impact
nothing
assessment.
coming on.
Yes.
And it's here really for our information, whether it's going to go
Do you
on.
want it just
Noted.
noted?
Noted, yeah, it's fine. I'm happy with that.
Now, can we add a note about the conservation issues? I think they're quite important. Are we allowed to say that? We note the conservation
Well,
issues?
we do too, but I'm not sure it will make a huge amount of difference because I think the report that is accompanying it makes that clear that they are objecting to some
Well, I think
phraseology.
Yeah.
I think it's just supporting that view. I mean, I agree it doesn't all fit, but I think, rather than imply that we're completely indifferent what happens on that side.
Okay.
I think also the archaeology report did actually take issue with one of the comments in the
Yes, that's what I was
in the other
saying.
report.
That's what I was referring
So
to.
we need to.
Okay, so what we're saying is we'll note it, but we'll make the comments about the
If
conservation.
that's okay, I
that's
think
fine.
just for future
Yeah.
reference, it will be good. Well, because it's going to come to us again.
Yes, I mean, I think there are also issues around access because I would imagine that from where they're proposing the site for the building, they're envisaging access around the back, which is not actually a source of power for if there's a significant facility in that main entrance, it could create considerable issues with this, I suppose.
Yeah.
So I think it might be worthwhile just taking that issue on.
Right, next one's for information only, which is S439718, full planning appeal on 1 Evans Way, Sawson, single story studio. I think we all know what's going on there. We're all fully aware of that. Yeah. Noted. Right, accounts for the month of February 2019. Any comments?
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Do I have a seconder? Fine. All those in favour? Thank you very much. To discuss the quotes for seed fertiliser, etc. for ground for 2019 to 2019 to 2028.
There's quite a bit, so if I just go through each item that Grant has requested, and 3 quotes, and then you just need to decide which
Each
quote.
item individually.
Yes, and then 3 quotes, and then let me know which ones you want. Seed. So this is seed and fertiliser, the ground stuff that you need for next financial year. So seed, we have 3, well, we've got 3 quotes for most of it. 745.20, 910, 950. Do you want to, what, oh no, I suppose I need to do them all, don't I, otherwise we'll be voting. Yeah, okay. Fertiliser, apparently there's a summer and a winter fertiliser. Summer fertiliser, for the quantity he wants £101.20, 116, 134. Winter fertiliser, 78.80, 104, 106. Then weed killer, 8, yes, for 20 litres, £80, 94, 107.25. Then there's a weed control which uses in the cemetery, so it doesn't actually kill the grass. 125.20, 146.20, 157.30. Worm control, 5 litres at £148 and 2 bags of purity at £58. The only place, there's only one place we can get those from. We can get any other place.
Worm control
And purity, which goes with it. I do.
purity.
Yeah.
What actually does purity do?
Mallows, purity.
It's purifying the worm control.
Yeah. That is to do with worm control.
Sorry, the
I
worm
didn't
control
ask.
itself was,
148,
and the
2
purity.
bags at £29 each.
58.
So
58.
58.
There's the housing ones.
The worm control? Yes. Yeah, the purity.
Yes. Right, outfield fertiliser. There's only 2 places, well, we could only get 2 quotes for this, but it actually comes from the same place, same farmer. 1,640 or 2,100. And then cricket soil, is over
Sorry, Joe,
Yes.
I just ask a question. Obviously, that's a substantial, much more than
It is,
anything
yes.
we've talked about so far. It's for outfield,
Outfield fertiliser.
so for not pitches.
No. No.
Oh, sorry, I've asked a double negative. It's for the areas that are not pitches.
Yes, I believe so, yes.
And so I'm just trying to get an assessment of why the fertiliser for the pitches is coming in at 200, 250 quid, and for the not pitches, which are less important, we're talking about 1,600
This is more areas.
2,000.
It's more areas. It's more recreation.
Sorry, I've worked that bit out myself.
Well, I don't know, I'm not a farmer, so.
Having said that, a lot of the ground that is taken in our recreation places are football pitches and cricket pitches, which will be covered by the fertiliser quoted. And I'm not sure that the proportion seems right.
I mean, if you can't answer it, we'll have to take it to recreation. We've just asked the head groundsman what he requires for the year, and
So
he's passed it on.
We've used it before.
I don't understand the cricket pitches and this, that and the other. I mean, that is a groundsman's specialist job. But the outfield, I can understand that. But does the quote include spreading?
One does, one doesn't. The cheaper one will include spreading, and the dearer one doesn't. Because we have, yeah.
But if
Yes.
I hear I do actually hear you. It is the relevance of the non-field or
non-playing
playing fields.
area.
So when it comes, are we talking about here just like Mill Lane, Linton Way and Spicers, just around the edge of that, or we're talking about the
I
whole
don't know, I'm
village.
not 100%.
being looked after?
Well, it's only our recreation, we don't do it. It's
So
only
can we,
recreation
I'd like to
grounds.
get clarification, can we defer that to recreation, and we get clarification on that one?
On what, the outfield fertiliser
Well,
and the
yeah,
other
Yeah,
fertiliser,
we're
we don't award
releasing
one without the
April, isn't it?
April.
Got plenty of
So,
Exactly.
will that be in time for it? Because in effect, that means we can't approve it until May forecast.
So can I suggest rather than defer it to recreation, can we postpone it or defer it for a month and ask the groundsman to just tell us why there's that big discrepancy?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
happy
So
with
what you're
that.
asking me, what the difference is between the fertiliser and the outfield fertiliser?
Yeah, and why there's this big huge difference in price.
But in the meantime, we've approved the rest of the budget, excluding those items,
Yeah.
which I assume is what you're suggesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
Actually, I don't mind, if we want to do that.
Yeah. Anything else that we need to know?
And
And
then
you cricket soil.
No, cricket soil 60788, again, we can only get one quote.
How much was that, Joe?
60788.
Right,
So I'm guessing the easiest thing is to go with the cheapest.
Cheapest
Because
with
they're all the
all-
same.
yeah.
We just,
So,
so I'll make that proposal that we go with the cheapest.
I'll second that.
so the cheapest on all except for the fertiliser and the outfield fertiliser, which I'll defer to
Next fall.
April.
And that is all within budget, isn't it?
Will we budget for all the,
Yeah.
yeah.
Right, can I have a vote on that, please?
Thank you.
Thank you very much. To discuss the request from the Cricket Club to run a children's Easter cricket camp.
So yeah, cricket, well, I saw some baby on the Cricket Club wants to run the junior cricket Easter camp here between the 8th of April and the 18th. 9 till 3 each day. It's okay with the head groundsman, except for the Fridays because it's still football season, so he's preparing the pitches.
Is there any reason that we, apart from the Fridays being for the, apart from that, is there any reason we wouldn't say yes?
No.
Brian?
Did have some damage on the
That's it.
nets?
That's a presentation evening. This is actually cricket, so they probably don't
I
want
don't think the
that's a
Cricket Club would
football
allow
presentation.
kids to ruin the run nets.
Yeah. Well, no, but I'm just wanting to make sure.
In that case, is there a way to get around the fact that the Fridays wouldn't be free?
Well, well, to be fair, it's only one Friday because over the 2 weeks it's over Easter, and on the one Friday that they wouldn't be able to use it, they could use the cricket nets on the side. So as long as they're aware of
Has this
it.
been communicated to them?
Well, no, we're waiting for you to agree it, and then obviously I'll let them know.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. I propose we accept.
Yeah.
All those in favour?
Thank
Excellent.
you.
To discuss S137 donation request from the Sawston Air Cadets.
I don't think we've had a copy of this. It's
No.
not in the
No.
house. I've just been looking back at emails. and it hasn't been emailed.
It was emailed, it was
It's
emailed.
emailed. Did you get, yeah, I was going to say it was emailed now.
It was emailed.
Because I've just been looking at the email for Claire with all the documents for this meeting. It wasn't in that.
She emailed it after, didn't she? I think it was emailed after because I.
Was it? Yeah.
Okay, but if I
because,
search for S137, I can't find anything, so I don't know whether it was called something.
Okay, they're requesting for £200. Who are we on first? Air Cadets. Yeah. They're requesting £200. This would be put towards overall cost of purchasing radios plus chargers and headphones, costing a total of £350. Apparently, the ones they've got now don't meet requirements. Thank you, Janet. That's what.
Yeah. And they need them for events that they marshal, including our bonfire night.
So there's actually Sawston for this then?
Yeah, so it will support Sawston, and it's a good cause, because it does.
Excellent
So proposed it's good.
Yeah.
Okay, do I have a second? David, all those in favour?
Just so these will have to come out of next
Any against?
financial year.
On
Yes,
the
please.
question, Chair,
Oh,
so it's too late and so I shall abstain.
Okay,
so sorry, Beck.
no, abstaining.
Yeah.
To discuss S137 donation request from Sawston Library.
This is the summer reading project, isn't it?
Yes,
sure.
summer reading challenge.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we always
we go
do
every year,
that.
It's
£200.
£200 scale.
There's no reasons to oppose it.
Pardon?
There's no reasons to oppose it.
Sorry?
No, we
No.
always support it, and it's very effective.
It's very effective, so David's proposing, second of all those in favour.
Whoa.
David proposed, Robert second. All those in favour? Unanimous.
Yeah.
To discuss the chairman's report, quotes for printing and delivery.
Which is written.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so
Did you
chairman's
get the
report.
Obviously
So
not.
printing, right, so we've got 3 quotes for printing. 110, 211, 241, all plus that.
Have we used anything? Oh no, we don't know if the other one or something.
We have used all of the above.
No, okay.
That's
Have
not
we go for
all.
the cheapest?
In that case, is it case we go with the cheapest?
Well, hold on then, delivery, 220, 220 and 336. The cheapest for the printing is also one of the cheapest for the delivery.
I propose we go with that.
Did we do both?
There you go.
Yeah.
Right, so do I have a proposer? Robert,
Yeah.
David, all those in favour? to discuss the neighbourhood plan leaflet for design, printing and delivery.
So sorry, is this the one that I was asking about
It
before?
is.
But when I asked about it, Janet said that you wanted a leaflet to give out at coffee mornings and things, not that you wanted
Yeah,
to deliver
sorry,
something to the whole village.
maybe I didn't explain it properly. Yeah, if we can send something round to the whole village, we can add the dates of the events where we're going to be. We can also add the neighbourhood plan meeting dates so that people know that. We can put them on the back that will encourage people to keep the leaflet and actually maybe come along to some of the events.
So for the mailing to the whole village is going to cost about £300. You've already done a mailing to the whole village. You could use the village magazine to advertise dates in. There has been no mention of the neighbourhood plan at any point in the village magazine and no dates in the diary for that.
Well, the first date is May, so we need to get on with it if we are going to do it.
Yes.
And remember, the neighbourhood planning group isn't just me. It's actually
No.
representatives from the village as well.
Absolutely.
Who thought this was a good
I think
idea.
it's an odd thing to go on chucking money at selling stuff to everybody in the village when everybody's already been contacted, and you would have thought that everybody who was interested had already got in touch. There are other mechanisms of
I think I would say that it doesn't hurt to do a refreshment of delivery because people have moved out, moved in, and you may get other participation. One thing I do agree with you that there should probably be better contact with the source of magazine, because then that has good spread of people that it reaches. Is it 2,500 you reach now?
No, it's 1,500.
1,500.
It's about half the households in the village.
Yeah.
But I mean, shall we hear what the costs are and decide on that basis? I'm just worried
George,
about the
what do you
amount of
think the
money
cost
we're
is? Is it within the budget?
No,
Was it?
Joe's got
Okay.
cost. Okay, so
Sorry,
design.
can I just ask a
Come
question?
on.
We just talked about the delivery for the chairman's report. Are we going to do a neighbourhood plan leaflet at the same time?
That
That'd
seems
be a lot
sensible,
cheaper.
yes. Yeah.
It would seem sensible.
Presumably we get it for the same price.
No, you pay any number of items, but certainly the cheapest.
Would be cheaper.
Would be cheaper.
Genius.
Very good.
I'd go for the same price.
Right, hold on then. So design and print of the neighbourhood leaflet, plan leaflet, 170, 232 and 292.
So go for 100.
Cheapest for
That's
170.
170.
That's for
Design.
So design.
and then delivery, obviously, it's not going to be the same price because there's more, because you've ordered quite a lot more, haven't you,
For the events,
The events
yeah,
and stuff.
because it is useful to have them to hand out. Does that include
but we
design?
can design and print, yeah.
Yeah.
So delivery, we've got 180, which does seem cheap compared to the others of 340 and 336.
So,
But obviously we can ask at the same time,
How much?
to deliver both at the same time, if you can agree.
Agree the first
Sort of
half.
agree. Well, yeah, but then I can't get them because they need delivery in March, April time,
Can be done on the chairman's action.
under chairman's actions, if
Yeah.
that's okay, and I'll get them.
Okay.
Because it is going to be cheap, obviously.
it was 220, wasn't it, the quote for delivery?
Well,
of the
yeah, it's a
chairman's
different
report?
quantity, so it's
Because we're going to a different, we're not going to all the households? We're
yeah, but
going
like I
to
said, their neighbourhood plan and that, they're ordering quite a lot more because they
But not for delivery?
Oh, for
No,
delivery.
no, delivery.
So the delivery
Yeah,
will be
it's
exactly the
not-
same.
Exactly, will be exactly the same.
You
That's
can't
the
deliver
chairman's
more than the
report.
number of
Oh,
households.
just per thousand. Yeah, well, it could be different, 'cause it's quite different, but anyway.
Yeah, well,
Right, so deliver both at the
It
same
might be
time
different.
and do it
And
on, yeah.
That's the cheapest
Thank you.
Yeah.
quote for
okay, so we're going with the
Deliver both at the same
Can
time.
I suggest that you only deliver it if you can get both delivered at the
Yeah.
same time?
good thing.
So when did you, oh, I'll talk to you about that tonight.
So we're
Obviously, we need to agree that
cost?
printing.
the printing. Are we happy with 70?
And is this including the banner as well?
No, I haven't got to that yet.
Okay.
Seconded by now. All those in favour?
Brian, Neil, Right, banner. 3 quotes, 31, 60, 70.
What kind of banner is
The
it?
banner's not on the agenda.
It's to go round the tables and be better size.
So what
than
size
we've
actually?
got.
Now, can we just keep some, Betsy had a hand up.
The banner's not on the agenda. It just says neighbourhood planning.
Oh, but you had another, you did have, yeah, and then you had,
Oh, is it the
you sent a
recommendation?
banner on 2:30. Discuss neighbourhood plan leaflet, quotes design, printing, delivery and banner. If you're looking at the first planning agenda, the first agenda that we sent out, this is an amended one.
Yeah, I've got
Yeah, mine's the banner. Okay.
No, I haven't got them.
Yes.
We did what we...
You spotted it.
Well, Alright, so we got
Right,
the
so banner,
banner,
yes,
what
so-
was again, please?
31, 60 and 70, and the banner's 1800 by 650.
That's full close.
Yeah, but we measured the tables at the Chalice and hopefully we'll get a better
1800 by 650 what?
this time.
Centimetres.
1.5
1.5 metres. One metre.
How big was it?
I don't carry it.
It'll be 18, one.
I don't think it's 1800 by 600, it's the same.
You sure it's not?
Well, we might need to check it then.
Yeah, that's better,
It's
that's
correct,
better
it's
for that
1800
size
millimetres,
table,
not
isn't it?
650.
Yeah.
Lasers on.
Alright, so come on, let's bring this back into, can we bring this back into order,
No,
please?
that can't be right because she's got on here, both quotes, say 1800 millimetres. That's
That's
not
not,
right, is
that's
it?
not right. 1800
I did think that was
millimetres.
cheap for a banner.
Big.
I thought it was
It's
cheap for a banner.
Should be
Well,
that.
we
So,
just been
three,
the size that I got back from the
Right.
Chalice.
It might just be
Just
just
said.
quotation
Says
for a very,
1800
very
millimetres
small.
on the roll.
Just under 6 feet, it's 5.9.
6 feet.
Right, okay, we'll have to do the quotes again.
It's 1.8 metres.
I think that's what, yeah,
But I don't, that may not be what you've ordered.
we haven't ordered it.
No. Alright, so we're gonna go back on that one.
Forget
haven't
that.
we? Okay, so,
But that could come back to April, could it?
yes.
And that would still be in time for the May.
Yeah,
I
they're very quick.
Yeah,
All of them.
I just give you the details of the company that I use, the Source and Fate banner. If you
Yeah.
like something
Well,
else.
we've got 3 quotes, so we'll track it, yeah,
Yeah. Once we've got the right measurements.
yeah.
They're the ones that I sent through.
I haven't seen it, it's what,
Yeah.
yeah, I haven't done that, but,
Right,
Yeah, that's
okay,
right,
so-
there's on one.
Okay, we can go around in circles on this,
Yeah.
so, right, we've decided on the leaflets, the banner will come back, and the delivery will come back as well.
well, no, it won't, I'm going to do the delivery, but I'm doing it under your actions.
Okay, gonna, right, fine.
Wonderful.
Okay.
Thank you.
All that discussed, 231 to discuss cemetery risk, we've done. 232 to discuss the GCP Greater Cambridge Partnership consultation. Any comments? Janet?
I've got some comments. The consultation document I saw, well, it covered all the headline proposals like parking controls, workplace levy, the flexible charge, the pollution charge, but it doesn't really give the detail of it all yet, does it? It's kind of just sketchy, the options. And the other thing that I noticed, I don't know if anyone else did, I looked at the consultation times when you go along and look at this, and they're all very much geared for commuters, aren't they?
Yes,
I mean, for
yes.
instance, I looked at the park and ride ones, which I might be able to get to, but they're 7:30 till 10 o'clock in the morning. So they're obviously, I mean, you can understand them doing it that way to get the commuters, but you're not going to get the people who only travel maybe later in the day. So that would be my comments about it. It's all very sketchy on detail at the moment, as you say, and the consultation timings perhaps aren't as useful as they could be.
I would agree with that. I've read it, I've been through it, and although they do tend to be getting a very good response from it.
They are, all good.
So, any other comments? Tony?
Yeah, well, don't forget this is the first stage consultation, it's about broad principles, but if you want to, in a sense, distinguish between different of these broad principles, you need just a bit more information than simply the broad principles themselves. So I think there is a bit that's lacking, and I'd also echo the point about this should be aimed at everyone. Yes, there might be a concentration on people, in particular going to be moving about at peak times, but in a sense the whole community needs to be involved, and there should be some further meetings organised for people to actually look at these consultation materials.
Well,
The consultation is, the end date is the end of March.
March, yes.
Yeah.
I can't remember exactly.
So is this something that also, as a parish council, we might want to try and push out into the village somehow? Just because obviously we want as many people as possible to be aware of it, and I imagine there are going to be a lot of people in source who've got no idea. So if anyone can think of a way to make people more aware, beyond posting it on Facebook or putting up some posters.
there are the links, you can just click into the links and everything. I think the district and the county council report have included the links, you can do the links, haven't you?
Can I throw something in? So I went to a presentation by GCP, followed 2 days later by a presentation on the local transport plan by the Combined Authority, who are also going up to consultation. We've got also the East-West Rail proposal before us. We've got the Whittlesford Parkway master plan before us from the GCP. We've got a Sawston Travel Hub proposal before us from the GCP. The GCP people involved in each of those projects that I've just referred to, they're not talking to each other about their own plans.
Nothing's changed.
It's clearly terribly frustrating to be involved, and equally there is a detachment between the Combined Authority and the GCP on this. So with these 2 consultations that we had in close succession, we talked to them each about each other's plans, and some of that information was the first time they'd heard it. We have in the Whittlesford Parkway master plan, which I recommend to you all to study. It's quite a useful plan for reworking Whittlesford Parkway. The difficulty with it, for example, calls for a 3-storey car park on the site of the existing one. But that's in close proximity to a grade 1 or a grade 2 listed building. So the likelihood of them actually getting that through the planning committee, I would suggest, is fairly remote. Even if it was built like that, they have only the same capacity plus a small number than they have at the moment, because they want to stop parking elsewhere and have it all in the car park. So the difficulty with this is it's a perfectly reasonable plan, but it only accounts for the current demand rather than the increased demand we're likely to get. So it's quite likely that the usage of Whittlesford Parkway will go from 500 to about 800,000 per year journeys, particularly in assuming and when Cambridge South is built alongside Admiral's site. But without going on too long about it, but the design or the commission was to create a major impact multimodal interchange for all types of transport. So, for example, we have suggested, and in one of the options, there's a pathway to go from Pampersford round a back route across the land from the other mill lane to get in, so that you don't have to cycle round the roundabout, which is clearly a dangerous point. So, but there's also the Arabella Binney land, which is north of there, which is in the green belt, so it wouldn't be amenable or suitable for housing development, but you could put a park and ride type car park there and have bus journeys and so on. So it's not ambitious enough, and they're not talking to each other, is my major conclusion about all of this. So please, individually, contribute as much as you can to those so that we actually get a better informed policy derivation out of it.
Any other comments? No? Okay, I'll reiterate what you're saying there, Brian, that for people to engage, it is really important. Obviously, I've had discussions with GCP, Combined Authority, and Highways England, and there does seem to be this breakdown of county highways of some communication. But I think one of the big things as well that will come out of this is when the 505 traffic report comes out or starts as well. That will have an impact on this as well, to a degree.
Yes.
One thing that does concern me, and I know we keep going back to it, is with all this information going on, is what's happening at the Genome campus and also the potential of the Uttlesford development.
Yes.
Because that's also going to have a major impact as well. So I think you're absolutely right that all these factors need to be considered and for people to write in their comments.
So the local rail user group that met 2 weeks ago spoke with the GCP about the Woodford Master Plan, and we relayed this information or the view that it was fine as far as it went, but it wasn't ambitious enough. But for example, you mentioned the 505, but there's no relationship between the 505 suggestions and Whittlesford Parkway.
No, there's not.
One of the solutions to the potential problem at Whittlesford with the Garden Village next to the A11 and the Genome campus would be to change the junction to always junction 11. So the A11 and M11. So that you could actually go down, instead of coming across 505, you could go round. It's a longer journey, but more robust travel times and access to both the Garden Village and the Genome campus. Where's that in any of the proposals? It doesn't exist.
Well, I mean, that output was made by a number of responses to the Uttlesford Garden Village proposal.
Yes.
Is that,
Okay, discussed as said. Right, 223. I actually asked this to be put on for, as Tony is you're still the chairman.
Yes.
If we could have an update, because it seems to have gone quiet. You can give us an update on the LMK,
Okay, right.
please?
Well, there were two important decisions by the Greater Cambridge Partnership last year. One which was to action 17 or 18 what are called interventions along the 1307, what's called phase 1. And phase 2 is the some sort of rapid transport public service proposals. So the first decision was to allocate about £14 million to address these various interventions and to complete all of those by the end of the 2020-21 financial year. Right, the first intervention's already been completed following public consultation, and that's outside Dalehead Foods, safety measures to improve it there. There are two other measures due to be completed this financial year, that's very shortly, one which is changing traffic lights to smarter traffic lights outside Linton Village College, and the other is extra cycling parking at the Baber Road Park and Ride site. Most of the interventions are, in a sense, a little bit remote from Sawston, but obviously the one that is of most interest to us is going to be what is proposed at the Baber Crossroads, because a lot of Sawston residents use the road to Baber to access the 1307 to travel into Cambridge. So there will be some changes, like the extra cycle racks and the changing of the traffic lights at outside Linton Village College. You don't need, in a sense, public consultation about those, but others where there are potentially changes in road layouts then there has to be a design put forward and public consultation before a final scheme can be approved. So these are some of the schemes that are going to come forward in the next phase. Now, as far as the phase 2 is concerned, and that is a strategy for rapid movement of people between broadly the Four Wetways area and the biomedical campus, that was consulted on. There have been a number of iterations, and in the autumn the Greater Cambridge Partnership agreed to go with strategy 1 and to work up more details, because originally it's little more than a line on the map, a broad principle. So obviously it has to be worked up in much more detail, and then the Greater Cambridge Partnership, the Executive Board, has to come to a decision about whether to proceed with that. The key point about the strategy that was supported, which is basically along the old railway line from near Pampers Station, on the eastern side of Sawston, and then veering to the east to go into the biomedical campus. The projected costings, and this is just a ballpark figure, was of the order of £140 million, whereas the other two strategies, which were basically improvements along the line of 1307, were more near to 40 million. And basically that's the order of magnitude which has been allocated in the past for work along this transport corridor. So if this extra work gives more support to the proposal along the old former railway line, then the Greater Cambridge Partnership will have to decide how they're going to fund it. So what we're expecting is that some sort of further information and another consultation this autumn on strategy 1. And that's where we are today.
Fine.
So thank you for that. I think one of the interesting things, again, one of the rail user group members that was based in Stapleford was expressing concern about the proposed route once it's left Sawston. And there's major concern from Stapleford and Shelford that the line proposed is going to go across the Cotton so north of Hinton Way on through that gap at the moment. And there's a lot of resistance to that. The difficulty is that to hide it, you'd either have to perhaps cut a channel through the hills, so it was low enough not to impact it, which would hugely increase the cost. Or the alternative, and there's still some strong evidence that light rail is a much better option than the bendy bus with rubber wheels, which is also known as the CAM, I think. Is that right? Cambridge Metro?
Autonomous Metro.
Autonomous Metro, thank you. I forget these TLAs. But it's a bendy bus with rubber wheels on its own track. The alternative of a light rail, which could follow the track of the old railway, would be problematic when it came into Shelford, because the width of the railway line there is not sufficient for another, so the width isn't currently sufficient for another line. You would need another line because the capacity can't cope, and it in itself will cause problems at Shelford Junction, where with the current number of trains at peak hours it's shut for 40 minutes out of every hour. So there's significant problems with addressing those issues that are still unresolved. One of the suggestions from the member of the table group, in fact his joint chair now, Parish,
Yes.
He asked me whether I'd ask us whether we would join in perhaps a working group to look at the options around those the GCP plan. So that we, maybe in concert we could come up with a specific response to those proposals.
Those sort of issues were raised to me in January, and I did suggest that the person, it wasn't Howard, it was somebody else, actually contacted Andrew Munro, who's the project manager for this, and because no final line on a map yet come forward, in a sense, now's the time to put those ideas for consideration as this further work is carried out.
And we, oh, sorry.
Well, I was just going to say, I mean, I agree with a lot of what you're saying. I think all these issues, particularly the impact on landscape, is important. But I was going to say, in particular, when you raise the issue of the train line in Great Shelford, of course, that is where it's proposed. The East West Rail will join up as well. Isn't it coming into the south by Foxton and the junction?
So one of them
Great
will be, but
Shelford?
it wouldn't come in through Shelford, it would come in effectively.
But it will affect.
The northern,
Yeah,
yes, the
it will
northern
affect
line.
that area, and it is again this joined up thinking and the actual, you know, and the lack of it or whatever it is, and the not actually being able to visualise where all these things are actually going to happen and cut across, and once the view is lost, it's lost, isn't it? So there's nothing we're going to be able to do about it. So, you know, maybe joining up with the other group would be a good idea, and having some representation there.
Solution would be useful.
Well, maybe the best, simplest way is to invite a number of members from this parish council with people from Great Shelford and Stratford to meet Andrew and Monroe and see where we are.
Yeah.
That's
I would include Baber in that as well.
Yes.
So I think they will.
Oh yeah, because obviously the line comes through Baber and Parish as well.
Yeah.
And the other thing, if I may, I mean, this is where this disjoint, so the Sawston Travel Hub,
Yes.
they didn't even realise that we've got allocated housing and put this, one of the suggestions for a travel hub on one of those allocated plots.
Yes.
So it's really frustrating, and it doesn't seem that Sawston Travel Hub project, which everybody responded to, well, it's a waste of time.
And money, public money, presumably, being spent on people's diet.
There was the initial idea of a little patch of the junction of the traffic lights bypass there, just because the county council owned the money and it could, you know, accommodate 25 cars or something similar.
I think it was up to 40.
Oh, was it 40? Sorry, it was relatively low number. So it might be useful, as you say, and Andrew Monroe's doing very good in terms of his public work. So yeah, are we happy if we do that? I don't know whether we need to do anything formal or...
I think what we can do is, if we contact the clerks of the said parishes, and to say that we've had that discussion, you brought it up, the suggestion was made that we meet up, we'll meet up first to discuss these issues, and from that, if the working group comes out of that, then fine. I think the other thing as well is, I know Andrew knows the lead project, but maybe we need to have somebody from the GCP there as well.
He is
He is the GCP.
He's the project manager for
Is he?
this.
Right, okay.
He's the man.
It couldn't be more appropriate.
Okay.
He's who we need. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, if we can write to Stapleford,
Baber and Stratford, Shelford.
Shelford.
I don't think little Shelford seems to be terribly.
Yeah, Baber and Stratford,
Right.
Shelford.
I mean, one of the
Great Shelford are very concerned.
one of the issues for Baberham Science Park, for example, is that if we only went along that old Haverhill line, it would basically miss them. And you know, there's, so if we could somehow suggest a route that goes past them and then back towards Sawston, then that would be much more useful for the Baberham Science Park.
I think Great Shelford need to be invited as well, because they're invited
Great Shelford,
for
Stratford,
improvement of their station anyway. So we know we'll head for that.
Shall we ask Whittleston as well, because of this relationship with Whittleston master plan?
Yes, I think so.
I think,
Yeah,
I know
definitely.
there's a lot.
Johnny, what my concern with this is, it's okay to keep asking these people, but the bigger things get, the less you actually get done. If you keep it compact, and
Just to arrange a meeting.
Let's see.
I think Huddersfield in a sense is slightly different because it's a little further down the railway line.
Yes.
It really links up with the 505, whereas this, if the railway line ran into Great Trafford as it used to, in a sense, that's a Great Trafford an integral part of the line, as is Bayburn.
Yeah. I mean, the difficulty with the railway line is just the capacity at the moment. And it's going to be four lines from the junction from Cambridge South, but it's still only be two lines for
Great Trafford station. So that
It's just about running lightly on heavy rail tracks as well.
Well, it's
Both advantage and gauge as well. Yes,
You know, we can raise all those issues when we all get together. So let's do the letter and then we'll go from there. Okay? Right.
And if you want to forward the letter on to me as well, when you sent it in, and I'll endorse that as chairman and then look at it for it.
Right, to agree the calendar for the meetings of the Parish Council for 2019 and 2020.
Yeah.
First day where it said 2018, it should obviously say 2019. Before you want to pick me up on. I know, you're going to mention
Beck?
It just needs to say the location.
Yeah, I've just written on here actually, but
Yeah. And can we make sure that we advertise the annual, the public meeting?
we do advertise it.
Sometimes it doesn't go into the diary. And
Oh, but we do, yeah, but it goes
Yeah,
in the notables and everywhere, but yeah, I should,
yeah.
yeah. I think I'll put the dates in, but yeah.
Okay, we're all happy with that?
Or do the vote.
Agree. So any proposal, Tony? Second?
Yeah.
Neil? All those in favour?
Thank you.
To discuss the request from
Sorry,
the...
Chair, can I just ask a question? What would be really nice is if the clerk would send calendar invites so that we can put them in our electronic diaries.
No, so they do it automatically.
A nice ICS. Thank you.
Right, to discuss the request for the use of spices for the Easter sunrise service.
It's a Salisbury Free Church. They do it up here, well, they've done it the last couple of years. Bruce Waldron conducts an Easter service at 6 a.m. here, out there, if it's not raining, if anyone wants to go.
I think we usually say yes and just remind them that dogs are
Dogs know, yeah, he actually said
Suppose we do
that.
that second.
Same as before, yeah. So Beck, Rob. Sorry, favour, Paul,
All those in favour? Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, county councillors up there. There we go. Right, county council, so a lot of it was repetitive from last year about the budget and the libraries. The other significant things I'd like to mention was in January, Ofsted took an unannounced 2-week inspection of our children's services. The report came back good, and they were saying that the programme which we have implemented back in November has been intelligent and effective. So, generally speaking, it was a good report, and they were saying that the way we're moving forward is healthy. You can do the full report. There's not really a lot more.
So, given a point of information, the report was downgraded to needs improvement, wasn't it?
Not the one that I would see.
I believe so.
Yeah,
So
I think it was too.
I think you need to check your facts because it wasn't good.
I thought there was something in the Cambridge News about it.
Yeah, there was, yes.
The
Yeah.
one maybe, but I didn't see that one. Then you got the other stuff is what we already mentioned about the Great Cambridge Partnership, the combined authority travel plan and the east-west. So yeah, that's really all I've got to add.
Noted.
Noted.
District Council's report.
Well, I've got lots to talk about tonight, so unless anybody's got any questions, I've said plenty about the travel.
Yes, so just slightly concerned about reports we keep hearing about the loss of staff in the planning department, especially of long-established experienced officers. And obviously it's a particular concern with the very major applications coming through in the south. I won't put you on the spot by asking for statistics here, which you may not be carrying around in your head, but it would be helpful to have a list of the number of vacancies that are currently in the planning department and the levels in which those vacancies occur.
I think we share your concern, David. We have done a lot of work in terms of changing the structure in terms of senior planning officers and getting them support officers so that they're doing less administrative work, but we're losing staff, professional staff and senior staff to the private sector because we're not paying the right rates. So one of the issues that we have to address is those rates, and that resetting them in itself an issue. As somebody who's this in the planning committee, and as you know, we're entirely reliant on the planning officers to do their work effectively. We've hired temporary or interim staff, but that's relatively expensive and is only a short-term solution. So yeah, we share your concerns entirely.
Yes. I mean, certainly we're using external consultant staff. There were certainly issues with the quality and abilities of some of those staff that we were hiring.
Yeah, so we're already
always a problem with that with outside consultants.
we're also doing training for new staff as well. But it's not easy. We heard recently somebody one of the senior planning officers, John Cock, is stepping down.
Yes, I've heard that. I don't want to mention names.
No, that's fine. But that would be another significant loss. And it's something that the relatively good news is that we're managing to keep to targets for planning applications at the moment. But it doesn't mean that your concerns aren't well founded.
Yeah, I mean, yes. I mean, I'd add a concern about that, but I won't say any more about that. I was just going to ask about the council tax on empty homes.
Yes.
Yeah, because I mean, I have seen about that before, and presumably it's to encourage the housing supply. Yeah. Is there any kind of appeal on that? I mean, I was thinking of the fact that sometimes the homes are empty, for
the
example,
officers are
probate or
going to
whatever.
be given discretion.
Yeah.
So that if there are peculiar or special circumstances that mean a justification. So, for example, in intestate
probate
estates,
was the one I was thinking
or
of,
issues
probate,
of
where
that,
it can
where
take a long
there are
time
problems
nowadays.
getting it resolved, and therefore the inheritance hasn't been sorted. Those sorts of exceptions to special circumstances can be taken into account. And it's absolutely aimed. There was some support for this when we did the consultation.
I think I responded to something online saying it's a
Yeah.
really good idea.
Yes,
We've
I
seen
think
this
so.
often,
Yes.
people just leave houses to fall down because they can get more money for them.
I mean, yes. I mean, it's certainly a move I'd support. But what would you have any idea what the size of the problem is in this area? Because I would have thought actually
Yes,
it was
there's
already-
100 properties
Oh,
empty
okay,
for 2 years, between 2 and 5 years, 41. So
Thank you,
it's not a huge
I
one.
completely agree. But
Yeah, seven numbers here.
it's relatively low.
Yeah.
It's quite low
Low
number.
numbers in absolute terms, but it's clearly an issue, and one that's reflected in Cambridge City itself, where people are buying properties and leaving them empty
Yes.
because it saves all the hassle of renting them out, and they accrue value just by sitting there empty.
Yes, it's a huge problem.
Well,
wondering what is happening with the process of, well, I mean, she's not departed yet, but with the exec leaving of South Cambs.
Yes.
Is there a process for recruiting or anything going on with?
Already in hand.
Okay.
Yes, and we're going to make some, as an administration, we're going to make some changes across the organisation as we go forward.
Will this include to pension, simply because seeing the amount that she got when she departed?
There's nothing that we can say. We are bound by effectively confidentiality agreement on that. So the statement that the council has made is all we're able to say for legal reasons.
Okay. Thank you very much.
I've got a couple of questions. One is the 3 million cuts on top of the 2.5 million already identified. Where areas we should technically be looking at that?
Sorry, which cuts?
3 million cuts over the next 4 years on top of the 2.5.
I don't know what you're referring to.
No, it's in there.
Sorry. So just you're going to have to be more specific.
The budget book.
So we aren't.
The budget book. That was that a lot of people had to ask for to get hold of the information.
Carry on.
Right. There's that. And there's also the potential of reducing reserve by 60% over the next 5 years. What are you going to achieve by that, and is that going to be dangerously low?
I'm sorry, can we make a request at this point for the two of you to have this conversation at a different time? Because we've got a lot of meetings to get through and it's outside of parish council business.
It's not cut through of any form of...
Well, but I think we've been in this situation in many previous meetings.
So we inherited a £400,000 anticipated deficit, and that's gone now. We're going to break even this year without going into the reserves. The reserves are set as all currently at a significant higher value than they need be to work in safety. They should be in a positive place. But over the next 5 years, there will be, after year 2, there will be, at the moment, a deficit of some 5 million. So we're going to have to find that money from somewhere. So we're putting in place in the Human Generation Scheme. You'll see some news in the future about some of the investments that we're going to make. And you'll see that we are going to be putting right many of the things that we've inherited that were wrong.
Okay. Like losing stuff. Right. The one thing I did like was the council the taxes on the empty houses. I think that's a good thing for getting thinking about that. How people housing for people. Right. Moving on. We have correspondence. None. Councillors' issues and agenda items for the next meeting. Starting with you, Joan. Tony.
Just one thing concerns me there, the 20 mile an hour in Salisbury. Would that apply to cyclists as well on the side?
Fair point, actually. Fair point. Tony. Hello.
Yeah, just the planning and environment meeting. I was there, but my name was missed out. The planning.
I'll make a list next time.
I was there. But I remember that.
It definitely was.
I might just rewrite them.
Yeah. Just like them. Just.
That explains something. That means that the voting figures in the report are right.
Oh, right.
Because
It's
there are
my
two
people
people
that
missing
wrong.
from the
Yeah,
Exactly.
and Tony. It's only I just need to amend the names.
Yeah.
Just because we know that Parkside is closing the police station and community centre accounts, depending on that, we don't know if anything's going to affect the police station here.
Say that again?
Parkside's closing, coming into the
Oh, yes.
coming into the site in South
Yeah.
Wales. Do we know if that's going to affect sourcing the police station?
I have no information on that.
When is the police
But I'm sure we can find that out if there's any impact. Because there are certain people in Cambridge that are not very happy about it.
No, obviously.
Yeah.
And depending where they put it, I mean, it might affect whether sourcing still has
They're seriously worried about that community engagement as well.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's going to be a satellite station still there.
Yeah, there will be something like that. Connie?
The speed sign will be moving sometime in the next week or so. It's been stuck in its place for well before Christmas, only because I couldn't get permission to move it, but as we discussed, we're going to move it anyway. So I will sort that out. It will go down Cambridge Road next, sort of coming down Parish Hill. So that's going to go there. Other thing is, back in November, I did go on a road craft course. You sent me on it. Just to say, I now have my certificate.
Oh, excellent!
So I'm the only one here that actually picked up a traffic code and put it down again. So anybody else would you do it?
Was that the one with Devon Swan?
Yes. So I'm now fully qualified.
Excellent!
Pick up a traffic code and put it down again. So there we are.
Congratulations.
Then you need to be present.
We'll celebrate that.
Right.
No,
Marcy?
the houses and the commercial properties opposite the King's Head. I noticed about 3 tiles on top of the roof can fall very easily. Can we do something about it or report it to the landlord? Because that tiles are about to fall and it can fall on somebody.
How do we know it's who's the landlord? On what, the pub?
Not the opposite side.
Opposite.
The houses on the...
Should report to South
There are
Wales,
4 or 5 commercial properties at the bottom and houses on top of it.
Right.
Just opposite King's Head,
Yeah.
the block of buildings.
Oh, you mean the older place with the hairdressers are?
Yeah.
Hairdresser,
The tiles are almost
Yeah.
That's the landlord thing.
Yeah.
So we'd have to find all we can do is drop a letter into the shops and ask them to pass it on to the landlord.
Or you could go to buildings and talk to people.
So who's the landlord?
Well, go and ask them.
Yeah. We'll take them all. Back.
Can I just ask a clarification about why item 242 is in Canada? I haven't seen a particular reason.
Well, because we are because it's staffing, so.
Technically it's
But it's not, but it's not anybody who exists yet.
Well, no, but we need to discuss it and discuss salaries and stuff, so can't discuss that in open in public.
Did we not have the previous discussion?
It's ongoing, Beck.
Okay.
We'll explain when we get to
No.
it.
Right.
I'll just, for clarification, the Ofsted report that came out said that children in care from Cambridge County Council Children's Services are being let down too often, according to that Ofsted report.
Yeah, anything else?
Oh, the House of Commons rejected the proposal by 149 votes.
Really?
I'm sorry. Don't think this it may impact this council.
Can we have a look at possibly a general election? David?
It was discussed at lunchtime, no.
Jack?
This, the planning application that was deferred from the Planning and Environment Committee, the outline planning commission for the bungalow at Faulkner Road, is that something we can take at this meeting?
No, it's not on the agenda.
So we
We're
can't.
deferring it, but we're asking.
I have fed back information about this, haven't I? Because I'm
Yeah.
sure
Yeah, there's
that
two, wasn't
it
there?
was
We spoke
clear
about
that
both.
it's an application by the South Cambs District
Yes.
Council.
Oh, it's by the council,
Yeah.
they're the applicant.
And it's part of their right to build programme.
Right.
I haven't seen that. Haven't seen
No,
it.
so And I'm sorry, I missed the meeting because I could have explained to the residents who came to explain that. So the applicant is Lawrence, one of our officers,
Yes.
who runs the vanguard for the Right to Build programme in South Cants. So that's part of that. And using unoccupied or used for storage garages that aren't used to park people's cars is one of the options that we've got across the district to put that land to use for housing.
Because the issues that were raised at the meeting were, number one was access,
Yes.
and number two was some of the garages are still being used. So I'm assuming there's been a survey done to...
Yes, so there is still there's an ongoing issue, and converting many of those garage plots across the district is actually a policy that your administration adopted and ran with.
Yeah.
And it's something that we're continuing with. I think the Right to Build is a good project. They will still have access to the other garages that are left behind, and they won't have it behind the plots. So they'll lose one entrance.
Yes, I mean, I think
that's what they was worried about.
Yes,
That's the point they was worried about.
Established use of that
Yeah.
entrance for many years. I think my residence said 27 years.
Yeah.
I have, it's
So
been
it's-
deferred to planning,
Yes.
and
We're waiting for...
you'll be at next planning meeting. We've had an extension of time.
So we have had an extension
Yeah,
of
but
time.
not
Thank you.
say someone's coming, but if you're here because the residents will come back. So will you be at planning?
Because I think there were also issues about whether it was a
Or
good
if
use
you-
of the
if you-
forest.
Yeah.
If you look at the written report, then we could read out that we in time.
Yes, so if,
Yeah,
okay, so if there's
first,
any,
we'll
if there's
talk
any
about that.
danger I can't be here,
Then
I can do
yeah.
something.
Oh, that'd be good.
Yeah.
Lovely, thank you.
Because we did actually answer the
Yeah,
applicant, didn't we? Yeah, so that was the only issue I was going to raise, thank you.
Okay, I have nothing, so...
The only thing I have is I've had an email from Icknield Primary School for a governor request. They're facing significant vacancies at the moment, and they've asked if Parish Council have anyone past or present that are interested in joining the school's governing body. So if anyone's interested, they let me know. I can put them in touch.
That's interesting.
Yes. Sounds like you're going to get a lot of people signed
Yes.
up.
I was going to say, so you'll all email me tomorrow. Okay, well, do let me know, and I will pass it on.
Right, anyway, moving on to the pursuit of section 1 stroke in brackets 2. Do you want me to read the whole thing out, or is everyone fully aware now